Hey everybody, it's Anna. Time for the Wednesday card in this week's tarot story. So today we have our second major arcana card, and it is Temperance. So this card shows an angel with 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the ground, which I connect to our dual truths about being on the planet. We are both spirit and we are human. And the goal is to find the balance point between the two. We don't want to pick one over the other. The point is to bring them together because spirit is where miracles come from and the physical plane is where miracles can be enacted. And if they don't come together, we don't have a bridge for magic. So we are the bridge, right? So the image shows her holding her balance between these two realities, and she's pouring water from one cup to the other, but it's not the top cup to the bottom cup. The water is actually flowing up, which tells us that when we are able to find this balance, we're able to actually change the laws of nature. That's where magic happens. So I think this is really interesting. The lesson here is about recognizing when you're out of balance and gently shifting. So it's like you're walking a tightrope. You're constantly adapting it by too far to the right, too far to the left, or maybe riding a bicycle, right? Like you get better and better at it the longer you go. And you notice when you start going to one side or the other, right? So yesterday's card was the Justice card. And that's another version of balance, right? It's energetic balance. The universe is keeping energetic balance with us, which means it is returning to us the energy we're investing. And the way this can be helpful is if we notice there are chronic patterns showing up for ourselves that we are, not really wanting, we want to change a pattern, then we kind of gently look into the soil of our lives. Where is this pattern getting stuck, right? And one thing I talked about is where I see people getting stuck, or people have already moved forward. They've begun healing and moving to a different mindset. But where we get stuck, the last place of getting stuck is language, because the mind is where language lives, right? So if the mind is using old language or telling old stories, that we have to release that as well. So we have to train the mind to change its vocabulary. And I think that to me is also this lesson of temperance. The mind needs to be tended. And I think that when you're an intuitive person, which means you're kind of led by your intuition, it's easy to think of the mind as sort of your problem child because it's sort of negative. It's always bringing up the challenges, or it's saying, oh, that's not possible. It does have often limiting language, but you can't step around the mind. You can't be like, I'm going to ignore the mind and just follow my intuition, because the mind is part of us. It's what the Justice card tells us. That's why we have to pay attention. The mind is vibrationally a part of us. So we have to help the mind get free. We have to heal the things that need healing, and we have to retrain the mind for the structure that we want, right? And so I feel like Temperance reminds us that you cannot do this on spirit alone. If the mind is stuck, then you are stuck. You can't overrule the mind. That's the gift. That's the nature of this partnership between the mind and the spirit, is that they have to learn how to honor each other and support each other. So the way this works is the spirit wants to do something, is feeling inspired, is feeling excited, and the mind gets stuck, right? The mind showing there's an actual limitation, so we need to tend it. We need to pay attention to it. Don't get frustrated with it. Don't judge it. It's not unique. This is what minds do. They are trying to navigate a world of density and gravity, and you're asking them to navigate it in faith. And as it's doing that, it's going to tell you where you get stuck. So instead of seeing that as a problem, you see it as an obstacle. You see it as something, not even an obstacle, an opportunity to offer the mind love. Because when the mind needs healing and you offer healing, that is love. When the mind has an old structure and it needs to learn a new structure and you teach it a new structure, that is love. That is giving the mind the opportunity to be part of the adventure rather than seeing the mind as a problem. If we see the mind as a problem, we are locking into a pattern of gaslighting the mind, ignoring the mind, exiling the mind. And now the mind goes underground where the vibration is going to stay intact. If the mind is pessimistic, that vibration is going to stay intact. It's going to stay in operation. And nothing changes. So the change actually does happen most powerfully in the spiritual journey when we notice where the mind gets stuck and we lovingly tend it and bring it back into partnership in a way that frees it. That's our second card for this week. See you tomorrow for our next one. Bye.